If you're watching this stream, we're having a little bit of technical issues. We haven't started the show yet. Sam's joining us a few minutes late, and Joe has just restarted his Mac for the second time. But welcome, all three observers. 2 comments. Hi, Roy, sorry. Yeah, Cylon, Robot Joe. Okay, I'm glad you're hearing that, because that's what I was hearing. Thank you, Roy, for confirming that. So just if we all sit tight here, it looks like we've got a couple other watchers as well. Great, thank you. All good from Roy. Let's put that comment up there. I sound great. Don't tell Joe that. Don't tell Joe that. He seems like he's kind of at the end of his rope today. So we're going to have to see if we actually get a show out of this. Here he comes.
I'm so done. I am so done with technology. I'm out.
Roy said,
I'm so pissed.
Yeah, Roy says you look annoyed. Now you sound better.
So annoyed.
What happened?
Yeah, thanks. Great. I don't know. I don't know it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because next week the problems will be different. So what the hell? What's the difference? It's oh man, I'm so tempted to swear right now. I don't want to give you trouble editing though.
Welcome to another edition of Command Control Power, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so done. I just can't. I can't.
All right, here's the thing.
I don't know where to start.
All right, well, look at it from my perspective.
You're carrying this one, Jerry. This is all you. Please enjoy yourself.
I take the computer on the job site. You're there in Colorado. You're in a van down by the river. You don't move your setup. You might go to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
So what's going on over there? Roy's telling us that alcohol would help you right now.
Yeah. Don't. I definitely agree with you, and I've thought about it. I may take a little break here in a second to go pour myself a drink. So yeah, I like a few weeks ago we go to record and Chrome's like, camera? There's no camera, And I'm like, yeah, the camera that was there last week, what's the problem? You don't remember the camera? I go into the settings. StreamYard has access to the camera. PPPC is fine. Chrome has access to the camera. Camera doesn't show up in Chrome no matter what I do. Restart, quit, reopen Chrome, well, all the things. I figured, okay, well, let's punt. I use the internal camera or whatever. And then I figured, okay, next week will be different. Nothing changed. So just suddenly it just stops recognizing it. Meanwhile, other apps. Now we've talked about this on the show about the magic. The phone has to be in this position, right? You can, and then Chrome is allowed to access it. Fine. So I have a mount for it and everything, and it was in the magic pose, and it's not accessible to Chrome, but it's accessible to other apps on my system. I quit Chrome, I open. Obviously FaceTime, all that stuff works. It's the built-in apps. But even third-party apps also have access to that camera. I'm talking about continuity camera. And for some reason, just Chrome doesn't. I don't know why. It was working fine, and then it stops working. So I gave up on that. Next week, it wasn't a change. Troubleshooted further. Still no luck. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm just a normal guy,
I think the operative word is troubleshoot at that point.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Total.
Yeah.
It's a troubleshoot show. Yeah.
So if you were my client, I would download that app cleaner for free, and I would remove Chrome completely and the components, and I would re-download a fresh copy. Have you tried that?
No, I was thinking of just quitting this whole business because I think that would be like a probably easier solution at this point. And it's so frustrating. Like, it's fine. I get paid for it. When it's a client, I get paid for it. If it were my client, I'd probably say, I don't know, let's try Firefox. So this week I tried Firefox, 15 minutes before we're recording, get Firefox updated, test it. It's got access to the camera. We go live and you can't hear me, or you can hear me and it's chopping out and it's like inconsistent. That's the other annoying thing, is that this stuff happens and it's just inconsistent. Like, I'm making changes and it's like, okay, it's better. And then I don't touch anything and it's worse. Like, why? What's happening? So I give up on Firefox. Now I'm back in Chrome and I have to use my built-in camera. I mean, I'm not, it's fine, but like I have a setup where I can stand and I can use the better camera and I can have my big screen and I can have my wired connect, all the things. Now instead I'm just sitting here with a laptop in front of me. I'm just frustrated. It's not this. Yeah.
Using
my
your
AirPods because
like an animal.
Yeah, like an animal. I mean,
like an animal.
Again, it's all fine. It's just on top of like a series of really annoying. Do you want me to tell you more annoyances? I could carry the show with
but let me put this in perspective. Let me just put this in perspective. So you were nice enough. One of your technicians, your key technician, was out on vacation. So you were nice enough to throw me a bone, and I did a little bit of work for you, right? And I went to this client.
You were nice enough to do it. I appreciate you.
Well, I'm a hell of a guy, Joe. We know that. I'm a hell of a guy. I go to one of your like random sample clients and I see all the work that CyMac has done on site. And these people, they just can't wait to give you more money for you to do things for them. I don't have anybody in my portfolio that fits the profile that I just left. And 2 days ago. And I must tell you that that's not one of your, I mean, it's a very good client, but it's
a residential client. Yeah, it's not like a Cornerstone, large company or something.
Top tier. And the money is just the money that they've spent with CyMac is readily evident with everything that I'm seeing around. And they just can't wait to give you more money. And you text me today and you say you're helping someone who doesn't have connectivity in their elevator with the phone in their elevator.
Right. I know.
I'm out here in the woods. I might have a grain elevator, up the street at the farm, but they're not hiring me to debug their grain elevator. So, I'd love to walk a mile in your shoes. I mean, give me the problems with your computer.
No, because you get, the problems just get worse because the people that want to pay you unlimited amounts of money to make everything, as you put it, bulletproof in the past, right? They're the ones who have the expectations that no one will ever meet, and so every time there's like, I can't turn on my computer, that's like, that results in like, 3 phone calls from 2 different people and an email, it's like, all hands on deck, and I'm like, unplug the monitor, open the computer, press the power button, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And I had to drop everything. And so it's like, I mean, I'm just giving you, so anyway, yes, I love my clients, and I love the fact that they can, I mean, they've supported my livelihood for 20 years, because people have high expectations and I can do my best to meet them. And I can, probably within the last 5 or 10 years, I've learned how to set boundaries and say that's unreasonable expectation there. But so, it's created a livelihood for me. But in all honesty, I mean, that problem with the elevator, like the client did nothing wrong. The client calls me and says, well, first of all, we set up an appointment. I call her and I'm getting a busy signal. I'm like, is Ring Central down? I try it like 5 times like an idiot. I just keep trying it. I wait 5 minutes. I try it again. Finally, I call her cell phone. Usually we don't use her cell phone. I reach on her cell phone. Ring Central's working fine. Just can't get a call into her phone number. And so then she says, yeah, I'm having phone issues. I mean, we had scheduled a 15-minute block of time to do something totally unrelated, helping with some design thing or whatever, hyperlinks, whatever. And, and she says, yeah, I'm having this. I said, I wasn't able to reach your number. And she says, yeah, I'm not able to call out either. So, hey, it looks like Sam's joining us for this part. Hey, Sam.
Hello.
Let's bring Sam up to
speed. So
Jerry, let me Sam up to speed. Yeah.
All right. So Sam, Joe's already blown his stack.
I'm gonna get a drink. Carry on. You'll probably hear me pouring.
He's got all kinds of technical problems with his setup. This is and of course he debugs them. So we're supposed to record at 6:30 Eastern time. So he debugs them at 6:30. No, he debugs them at 6:31 Eastern time, and then he's angry. He's angry because nothing works.
The issues were not evident until we went live. I was all set up and ready to go. New, camera. I'm in Firefox. I got everything working. And Jerry tells me my audio sucks. So then,
Meanwhile, Sam, I'm sitting I'm like in the queue here, and I'm there at like 6:20, and I'm sitting like this. Right. And Joe
Oh
shows
yeah.
up, 11 minutes later and nothing's working. But so he says he's tired of all this technology. And I was relating to him that I just came from one of his customer sites 2 days ago. And it was evident that, he's just rolling in the dough from these people.
Oh yeah.
And
I wish.
they can't
That's why I
wait
live
to
in a
give him.
college dorm.
They can't wait to give him more money, Sam. So he lives in these are first world problems that little Joe's having right now.
I'm so done, Sam. I'm out.
I'm just thrilled that Jerry. I don't have a target on me from Jerry for being.
I know. Oh man, that's right. I know. Sam and I coordinated behind the scenes so that we could avoid, like spread the wrath between the two of us. So,
by the way, for
right,
those of
Sam,
you who are one second, those of you who are watching at home, Sam's sporting a really nice Command Control T-shirt. Did they make that in a men's model at all, Sam? I just was.
Funny guy.
Wow, funny guy here. So, Sam, where we left off, I was bringing everybody up to speed on the elevator story from earlier today in the chat. Jerry's, clearly that represents the fact that all of my clients just throw money at me and I don't have to do any work and take any grief ever. I wish that were the case. So this client, his client with the elevator, I call, and we had some 15-minute block of time scheduled for some totally unrelated thing. And I'm calling, the phone just keeps going to busy signal. I'm like, is Ring Central, having a problem? I finally reach her on her cell phone and she says, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm noticing there's some problems with my phone. So she tries to call out, can't call out. I try to call again, busy signal. So we find that there are like 2 of her phone lines are not working out of 4. She doesn't need 4 lines anymore, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's just on the list of things like we should probably help her with downsizing that. So then she says, well, Frontier called me last week. And they said, blah, 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 blah. We want to send a technician. Frontier's her phone company.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. And then, she has no phone service, basically. So I yada, yada the part where they show up and the technician says, so the phone person is like, oh, we're going to sell you all this great stuff. It's going to be fiber, whatever. And she's like, I don't know. Do I need that? Fine. Come to my house, walk around, do your thing. So the guy comes to the house and says,
everybody knows that older people need more fiber, Joe.
Exactly.
So
right.
Who wouldn't say yes to that if you're over 55, right?
Exactly. Great point, Jerry. It's good. It's a good, thank you. All right. So keep it light. So the guy says, we can't do that. That's ridiculous. Like telling this, Nana that it's ridiculous that she wants fiber. Nana's like, I don't care. Like, I don't want anything. Why are you even in my house? They told me that you're going to come here and do something. I don't know. I don't care.
I just want the phone in my elevator to work. I mean,
So that was part of the issue. That was the issue. This guy says, I can't put a fiber phone line in your elevator, which the fiber doesn't go to all the phones anyway. Like it would come into the basement and then it would be distributed over plain old telephone signals, I assume. I don't know. None of this matters, but okay. So then he's just like, the lines are buried. Nothing's going to work. The elevator, blah, blah, blah. And he leaves. The next day we find out she has no phone service.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, this. So, and then she's like, I don't know, these people were calling me. I couldn't understand what they were saying after that guy left or whatever. And she's like, I might have hung up on one of them. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, that's like, I don't blame you. And like, that shouldn't mean, well, they're just going to destroy your phone line, like out of spite or something. Like, what is this? So I spent an hour on the phone with Frontier. First of all, they have no security. I'm like, hi, I'm Mrs. Smith. My phone number is such and such, and they're like, "Hi, Mrs. Smith," and they're like, they don't care.
Oh my God.
So it's just like,
Wow.
And I mean, I swear to you, like, I was like, reactivate the phone number, like, call me back and tell me what the heck went on. And they just like all of these changes to her account, they don't care. They just took my word for it. I mean, I'm like, I can call any Frontier customer and I can be like, "Hi, I'm Mrs. Smith," and I like. The 2-factor is I know your phone number. Like, how is this secure at all?
That's bizarre.
I mean, that part was, but I was like, thank you, because I don't have to join her to the call and then have to navigate between like speakerphone on both sides and all that crap.
Right.
So, all right. So I get on the phone with them, customer service says, "Oh, I see the line was deactivated." I'm like, "Why? We didn't do that." I'm like speaking for the client now. Like, we didn't authorize that, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He was actually really good at technical support. And he's like, "I'm not sure." He's like, "Here's the service order number. It looks like it was just done yesterday. So you're going to have to talk to customer service and they can help you." So then he transferred me to customer service. They were also good. And they said, "Yeah, I see that happened. I don't know why. And I think retention can help you." So they passed me to retentions. Now retention is saying,
I'm already annoyed.
hey, and then they're like, "Enter your phone number in the dial pad for the third time." Okay, fine. I'll do that. Then they get on the phone. They're like, "What's your phone number?" I'm like, "I just entered it for the third effing time." "Okay, my phone number is whatever." So fine. I get reauthorized by the secret phone number, and then they say, "Yes, we can reactivate this." Thankfully, it hadn't been too long. It'll happen on Friday. So it's what day is it? Wednesday. So it's 2 more days. So it's basically 4 days that she's without a phone because of something. Who knows what somebody did.
So
and yeah,
they're able to cut it off in a day, but to turn it back on, it takes 2 days.
Yes.
Great point.
Yep.
Great point.
That's the way it works.
Like Jerry says, it's never in your favor. The mistakes, the errors, the problems, the delays, it's never in your favor. It's never like, like, "Oh, surprise, you won $200. No, it's like, "Oh, your account just got dinged." But anyway. So I'm like, I tell this agent, I'm like, "That's great. Thank you for your help. I really appreciate you doing that. I'm sure you hear this all day, so I don't mean to put this on you, but I'm really annoyed right now. I'm annoyed at the company. I wish I knew who to be annoyed at the company, but why is it possible that my client, this older woman, like, receives a phone call from Frontier trying to upsell her on services. She doesn't really know any better, just to decline or whatever. So they come over and then they leave and she loses 2 phone numbers. Like, that shouldn't happen. And I said to her, Jerry, kind of what you were saying before about like my clients throw money at me or whatever. I'm like, my clients pay me to solve their problems. They pay me to advocate for them, to do damage control for them, to deal with this crap for them. But for every client that I help through something like this, by spending an hour on the phone and knowing how to navigate this stuff, there's probably 10 clients that are just suffering. 10 people that are not clients that are suffering, that, "Oh, I lost my phone number." You know what I mean? And they're just like, "I don't know. It's the man. It's the system. The system is effed. Like, I lost my phone number. I give up." Like they just suffer. Like, and I don't know. It frustrates me. So I was telling this customer service retention person this, and I said, "Can you do something? Can you like do some more research on your side and figure out like how did this happen?" Because she's like, "Well, the technician didn't put in any notes, so I don't really know like why this was done or what, who did it or whatever." I'm like, "So it's possible for someone in your system to just delete a phone number because," and I'm like, "I'm not saying he did it out of spite because she told him, I have an elevator, you can't, or he said, this lady has more money than she knows what to do with, screw her." Like, I'm just guessing, but you know what I mean?
But I mean, how is there no actual log of who performed the action? So you can call again, pretend you're anyone you want, and you can, and someone there can do something and not have any record of it done. What kind of freaking company is this?
Well,
I know.
The whole problem pervasive no matter where you go. And I have 3 separate stories, and I'm not sure I'll bore everybody with them, but there's no accountability in any of this. Like they've designed the system. Like, as an example, I had an HP authorized HP repair person come on site 2 times to try to get a brand new PC working. They replaced this touch screen and video cable. You guys know a little bit about this. And they replaced on a separate occasion a logic board. The technician came and went both times, no documentation. And I'm trying to follow up now because I'm trying to get some satisfaction with returning the item. And the people from the repair department said, no, sorry, we can't send you any documentation that we came inside to do this.
Right. Yeah.
What?
There's no record. You're not entitled to that information, Jerry. That's, proprietary, info. Yeah.
I'm frustrated for
it's
you.
absurd.
Ridiculous.
I know. It's all very frustrating. And so So, okay, this woman's going to do a investigation at Frontier. They're going to actually call me back. She's like, "Do you have a good callback number?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, call." I expected that they're going to call the point of contact at the client. No, I just gave her my phone number, so she's going to call
Anybody.
me and tell
Why
me.
not?
It's like, could be anybody. Yeah, give her Jerry's phone number. So yeah, so they're going to call me back and let me know. So maybe they will. Maybe the investigation people will be able to see. Oh yeah, it looks like the. Because I asked her too, like, in what scenario would the end game of this be that you delete two phone numbers? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna put in fiber or whatever the whole plan was, which I don't even know. She doesn't have internet through them, so what does putting in fiber even mean? With again, none of this is necessary anyway. So
Yeah.
why would you delete two phone numbers? That has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's just-
bizarre. It's got to be out of spite. It's got to be someone
Yeah.
just being like, F this, and just
Right.
hitting a button.
Well, I have one possible scenario. So let's say they're changing over to another system. So he got into it, he removed the numbers, and then he
Right.
realized that he couldn't complete the task. And then instead of restoring the numbers that he removed from the older system,
Right.
he just
He just
walked away from
left.
it. Yeah.
Walked out. Yeah.
and didn't tell anybody
Yeah.
or log it.
Right. No, and doesn't care. That's the thing. Like, we don't
Yeah.
pay people enough to care. I don't blame the guy. Like, companies don't pay people enough to care, and let alone the people that are like in offshore like call centers and stuff. I mean, I've talked about this on the show too. Like, this is really not their fault in many cases. Like, we live in a very exploitative society where we externalize all costs and ignore as much as possible and just pay people as little as possible. And churn is just expected, and low quality is just expected. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like lit a match and threw it over their shoulder and walked out, like, and just said like, I don't like whatever. Yeah, because they're just like, I'm done, Yeah.
Sonny came
Imagine
home.
I'm done, I'm done. And I have a company, like, I call the shots for myself, whatever. Like, these people that work as a, entry level person for a major multinational corporation or whatever, like, they don't care. They can't, they don't have the same level of patience, and
Well, even in this, I think even in a small business scenario, that can happen too. I mean, it's true, obviously, those large corporations, but any chance I get to mention my buddy with a restaurant, I'll bring it up. But when he talks about how he used to be a busboy at his dad's restaurant, and all of it would, he would care for everything. He's like, these people don't care. Some of his employees even complain about it. I'm like, well, yeah, they're not an owner. They're just like doing a job for a fee,
right.
and they just don't care. And in a place as big as that, when they can be anonymous and just, I could do what I want, no one will ever know, well, then F it. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
my argument is like, pay people a little more and they'll care a little more, and
Right,
take,
but the
take care of them.
Yeah, but the system is rigged. Everything is designed, like I said, with no accountability, and there's these multi-levels of these people who can yield satisfaction or not. And most of the people that we talk to on the phone, even first, second tier, a lot of times they can't make you whole. They don't have the power to fix it, to make it right. They're just another
Retention
level
does.
of
retention.
Do they?
They're the ones who,
That's always
they're
the
the
department.
ones.
Yeah.
When you threaten them to leave, when you say I'm gone, that's like, then they're like, well, we'll pass you to retention, and then it's like, retention is like, my job is to retain you, and I have the power to do that. I got throw. They threw me $50. They threw the client $50 off her bill, which was the equivalent of, and this is how much 4 phone lines cost, which is, anyway, this whole thing is ridiculous. 4 days of service or 5 days of service, $50 was the credit. So after, you pull the phone away, you don't have phones for 4 or 5 days, it's our fault. We'll give you credit for those days. We're not going to say, and we're also really sorry, here's another $50. It's just like, so even retention. Yeah.
It would have been wild if retention actually gave you the money. They're like, where can I wire it to you, Joe?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Oh man, but I feel bad because the client is paying me to like fight with the vendor who screwed her over. Like,
yeah, she's
I
getting
don't
screwed.
know. It's such a mess, guys. I don't know. I feel I'm very like, I don't have a lot of hope about our system anymore. There's like fewer and fewer people have hope and have patience and like, optimism about, how things are going to proceed. I just see the whole thing devolving. It's just like it's becoming like a mess of like traps. It's like every day. I mean, Jerry, you explained one to me about, do you want to tell that story of, customer service gone wrong, like, the leasing or the financing thing?
Yeah. So we last September we bought a new fridge and we bought a new stove, and we'd gone for months needing these replaced, maybe even years. So the total amount was $6,800. It was with Home Depot, and one of the incentives for us to buy it at this time was they had a program in place that was 24 months deferred financing. So I averaged out to 24 months. It was a payment of $300 a month to pay off this at the end of the 24-month term. And as long as it was completely satisfied, the balance was paid off, 0% interest before the end of the 24 months, you walk away and it's a done deal. So that was last September. I didn't open my statements because I had auto debit going on and I thought I was covered for the next 18 months going forward. So I happened to open a statement that came in the mail. And I looked at it and it said, oh, interest for 2024 so far, $1,024.
Oh,
so I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, what's wrong here? So I call them up on the phone, and the people who administer the credit cards for Home Depot or do this financing is actually Citibank. So I get somebody on the phone on a Saturday, I get a senior advisor, and they said, oh, it looks like someone made a mistake and only set you up for 6 months deferred. So what happened was, at the end of the 6 months, you didn't satisfy the balance. So we charge you interest from the moment you bought that product.
Yeah, that's how that stuff works.
Right.
That's crazy.
And this is evidently legal. Joe talked about this, that he was, he knew about this. And Sam, you have knowledge of this. So they're able to roll back the interest. So I said, look, guys, this is not the way things are going to go down.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay you today for whatever that balance is right now, which ended up being $4,800.
Wow.
And you're going to back out all this interest. And I'm just going to give you the $4,800. We're going to make a zero balance today. And we both go home. So she's like, I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to a senior advisor. Hold on, this sort of thing. So, and it went on longer than that. But you've got the Reader's Digest version. So ultimately, that was it. They took my checking account routing number and account number. They debited $4,800. They rolled back the interest, and we were done. But because what they did was, so in my mind, so reprehensible, I didn't want to say like, oh, well, let's see if we can reinstate the deferred 24 months. I just wanted to be done with these jokers.
Yeah.
But I was saying to Joe on the phone privately, how about all the people who couldn't afford to come up with $4,800?
Right.
Or the people who don't even look at the statements because they assume they've got this. And their answer to me was, oh, it was a mistake. It was a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what we're dealing with. And it's like, I've got two other stories I won't even tell you, but it's like, and it's across industries. It's not computer, it's other things. Like we had air conditioning put in our house 2 years ago, these Mitsubishi heat exchanger slimline head units. And if you register within 90 days, they take your 3-year warranty and they extend it out 12 years. So it's really significant, right? So I do that within 90 days. I registered them 2 years ago. And so now I'm putting paperwork together just in case we sell the house 3 to 5 years from now. I'm not scrambling around. I think I mentioned this on another show. And so I go and I check my warranty and I log in and the number doesn't work. So I literally spent multiple days, maybe 3 or 4 hours on the phone with Mitsubishi. They said, we're sorry. None of this has been registered. And my only saving grace was that I got a welcome, to Mitsubishi advanced registration or something within that 90 days when I did it online, like I was following the directions to do. And that was my only proof. Otherwise, they would have never. So here's the kicker. So, I'm fighting this. Finally, I get this email the end of yesterday, and it goes like, welcome, you've got the 12 years now. And here's a certificate, right? So I look at the certificate, and there's more units listed on the certificate than I own. And some of the serial numbers don't match. 4 of them do. The other 2 don't. And there's other units on there that have nothing to do with me. So welcome to welcome to the United States. I don't know what you would call this.
Yeah, I can't name it without swearing right now. You know, it's the United bleep bleep of America. Yeah,
right.
I mean,
but it's never in your favor.
No, exactly. Like you said, it's never in your favor. Oh, it was a mistake. Okay, well, when I make a mistake, I'm screwed. Like you guys don't say, "Oh, it's a mistake. It's okay. Like you're fine." You know, "Oh, everything's happened." Yeah, no, I'm screwed. You even with their mistake, you had to come up with $4,800. I mean, it's like
I
the
didn't
original
have to.
thing was.
It was what I chose to do rather than have them try to reinstate the deferred interest.
If they even would, I mean, and then
would they? After they started charging the interest, I think not.
Yeah.
And would you trust them and the whole thing? I know it's just such a it's so depressing.
Screwball. It's so upside down. It's so not in your favor. It's just reprehensible business, and they get away with it. And so many people, like you say, whether it's the lady with the elevator, the phone in the elevator, she gets rolled over, and everybody else gets rolled over. And I love this where they say, "We're investigating." What do you mean you're investigating? There's nothing to investigate. I registered. I got proof that I registered. The numbers aren't there. Register my units. Here are the serial numbers. What are you investigating?
Right.
Your own stupidity?
Right.
I mean, I've been yelling this whole show, but I just feel like that's the level that I'm at.
No, I turned my volume down when I joined.
Thank you.
Yeah,
like my wife says, she goes, you're at an 11 right now. I've been at an 11 for months.
I'm going to use that, Jerry, in our group chat. I'm going to use that 11. That's good. Yeah. Well, it reminds me when you say like they're going to check with the senior advisor. It's like the episode we Seinfeld, right, where we talk about the reservation. You can take the reservation, you can't hold the reservation, and then they go back to the back room to have the conversation with someone, and Jerry's joking. It's like they're pretending to talk to each other behind the glass. Oh, and like this guy needs help, and can you help him? And blah blah. And it's like actually what they're saying is like, I'm just delaying right now because I don't want to help that guy. He's a jerk, blah, blah, blah. So senior advisor, I mean, it's just like a delay tactic, obviously.
They do something great like that in the movie Fargo as well, where these guys they didn't want the True Coat on their car. So he goes, let me talk to my supervisor. And he goes in the bag. He's like, so how was that game last night? And they're like, just
right.
It up. He's like, you got tickets? And then he comes back. He's like, it's hysterical, but it's true. It's that kind of stuff happens. Like it's ridiculous.
It's so frustrating. Can anyone relate to this? I mean, we've been ranting the whole time, but just the kind of day that I've had and the kind of few weeks that Jerry's had, I guess. But yeah, as Roy says in the chat, we're definitely going to get complaints about the anger that we're spewing here. But I mean, it's real. We're like everybody has their limit, and sometimes just dealing with these. It's usually, I mean, sometimes we have anger and annoyance with clients and stuff, which is. I think it's more so with vendors, with the bureaucracy around stuff. I had somebody today, this was my day today. It was supposed to be a quick thing. I'm logged into Facebook on my phone, but I can't log in on the computer anymore. My password's not working. I have the password, but it's not working. I'm like, well, then it's not the right password, is number one issue. Like, well, why is it working on the phone? Well, is it asking for the password on the phone? No, you're just already signed in. So
right.
Like you're on the phone, the app is signed in, it's working, but the Mac, you're not signed in. So Facebook is like, okay, no problem. Of course you can reset your password. Well, her email address is an old email address. It's a different Gmail address that she had once upon a time, and then probably
she can't get
the
access
password
to
for that.
anymore.
Yeah, gave up on that one, created a new Gmail address, and then and just never updated Facebook because she's like, I figured it didn't matter, as long as I have the password. I'm like, yeah, but that's now we're facing this problem. So
Game over.
No problem. Well, she has her phone on the account, so this should be easy, right? Okay, send a message, doesn't come through. Send a message, doesn't come through. And then it's like, are you a robot? Okay, no, you're not a robot. We'll send the text again. Doesn't come through. So then it's like cycling through all of this. And then I'm like, are you sure you're in the messages app? Are you sure, and I'm like, does it say messages at the top, and I'm like, then I text her from my business line to say, did you get my SMS text message? Yes, she gets mine, doesn't get Facebook's. So Then I discover Facebook has a new option, which is you can text them. Did you know about this?
No.
You look this up, and I probably still have the tab open because that's the kind of day I had. Let me see here. There's like 50 million tabs open about all the stuff that I'm still in the middle of doing. So Facebook has this thing where you can get a one-time password to log into Facebook. So you text them at 32665. It's a short code, 5-digit phone number thing for SMS, not phone. 32665, and you send OTP as in one-time password. So you text them that. She does this. She types in that number, and she sees the last time that they sent her a code was like a year ago. So clearly, like, it worked at one point, but nothing new. She doesn't get a response. So I'm like, all right, I give up. It's been an hour and 15 minutes now. Like, I'm done. I can't. And then like 20 minutes later, I'm ready to eat breakfast, and she calls me back. She's like, I got the code. I'm like, oh my God. All right, let's try it. We put it but she, not only did she get the code, but she had already tried everything on her own. So then I get connected to her screen, and it's like saying the code is wrong or whatever.
Right.
So then I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. We have to request another code. So then we do that. She's not getting it. And I'm just like, I feel like this is my hell, like this is like Facebook one-time passwords are my hell. So then I close that window, and miraculously she's logged into Facebook on the Mac because of something she did. I don't know. And I'm like, okay, you had the code and you got logged in, it's working. But when she chose the new password as part of doing that process, like, she didn't save it or whatever. So now now she's logged in, and we still don't have the password. I'm just like, and again, this was scheduled for 15 minutes, and it was like an hour and a half of my life of like Facebook and passwords and all this stuff. And I'm not blaming the client. Like, this is how it is for people. This is how it is for people. This is the fault of the industry. Like, our industry is so effed. Like, it's such a mess from the beginning. And we've put like, duct tape and baling wire, like every level above that. And it's falling apart, and people cannot figure it out. Why, when you request a code from Facebook, does it not come through? Ever. Those original ones never came through. She got the one-time password 20 minutes later or whatever. Like, if Facebook can't do that, I mean, we're just like, what are people supposed to do? I'm sorry. I'm just ranting again. I'm just so frustrated today.
It's actually rare form to see you like this, Joe. And I don't mean to be amused by it, but it is a little bit amusing.
It's fair. It is for me too, sort of. Yeah.
I mean, the type of things that you deal with that with home customers is incredibly frustrating because of that. For instance, if they were on a work email, you could recreate that email and handle it in the domain. But when you have situations like that, it's so difficult to manage.
Right.
And then you have to get personal with the customer to try and understand a deeper dive into, like, can we recover this? And do you remember what this was? And I just, I can't. And my patience, we've already talked many episodes about how my patience has gone out the window, but.
Right.
But again, okay. So maybe I shouldn't support residential users. They're all screwed then. I mean, I'm one of the few people that's still supporting residential users. I can't even help them. Like, and like, it's like, what do people do? What are they supposed to do then?
I think you've identified, stepping back and looking at this, the bigger problem, the industry problem that they've sort of created for ourselves. We're in this brave new world. The computers are going to do everything for us. My dad, give you an example, my dad bought a Tesla. And he bought the new Y car version of that. Sam, you might know something about this,
Model
right?
Y.
Model Y,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the only way you can buy a Tesla is to do it through the app.
So you can go to the dealership, but then they still take you to the website to buy it.
The dealer holds your app in his hand, and he may have some back end control, right? So my dad did the dance with the dealer. He goes back home. He can't get past the first couple of screens. So of course we use SOS Splashtop, and I don't want to go into specifics of some of the problems, but the little workarounds about scanning the documents, scanning your license, whatever. Sometimes for whatever reason it doesn't take the document properly, and we know those little pitfalls that you could run into doing scans and creating documents. And so we were able to progress, and we were able to actually order his car. That the app was successful, but the app itself had its shortcomings, and only because I had some technical knowledge, or you guys would have been able to help him too with technical knowledge, could we get through this. So like you said, Joe, what does the average person do? Do they just simply just say screw it and move on? I mean, maybe not.
Jerry, what yeah, what happens when you're buying a car and they say like do not press the back button or click buy again? Is there a risk of like getting 3 cars? Like if you like go back in the process and it's like the page refreshes, it's like 3 Teslas appear in your house.
It is interesting though, because in the app, like you can do some serious damage. Like if you're not in the right state of mind, you had a couple of drinks, you could do stuff in here, like the full self-drive capability. You could tap it and just buy it. Just as long as your credit card saved, it's there, and then it upgrades on your car. So
right.
Wow.
Well, the other thing too is that and then he got incentives from the state and incentive from the state of Vermont, because that's where he lives, and also from the federal government, for cash back on this deal. And so you have to go through the energy company, the people who Green Mountain Power, who supplies them power, and they were going to put a charger, give them a charger, right? So you have to go through their websites and upload all the documents again. And it's just navigating all these different portals. And the average person can't do this, or they just, maybe somebody in their family can come and help them, but it's almost designed for failure.
Oh yeah. I completely agree. I started off by complaining about the whole StreamYard, Firefox, all this stuff, right? Part of my troubleshooting in Chrome, Foxfire, in Chrome, I was like, okay, I'm confirming it has access to the camera, it has access to the microphone. Chrome, it's that's for StreamYard in the Chrome preferences. Chrome itself has access. It should all work. It just doesn't work. So I'm like, well, let me reset it. Okay, so I go into Chrome and I change it from allow to block, and then I say close that, go back in, change it back from block to allow. Okay, still doesn't work. And I'm like, all right, well, what if I just, then there's an option, reset settings for StreamYard in Chrome, then it'll ask you again later, right? Okay, so I'll reset the settings. So I do that, go back, and StreamYard doesn't have access to the camera and the mic. And I'm like, all right, so what should I do? So then I quit Chrome and I reopen it, and doesn't have access to the camera and mic. So, and it just doesn't ask anymore. Like, so you'd think that resetting it would go back to, now it's going to ask, doesn't ask again. So I have to find my way. This is as we're like in the middle of this, it's already live streaming to everybody, and I'm troubleshooting this now. And I have to go into the preferences, find my way to the website settings. I think I had to like select StreamYard.com and then manually allow, So again, like no one would ever figure that out. Like maybe 1% of humans would know to go into preferences and drill down and all this stuff. Obscure, stupid technical knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, why does this stuff like that? That should not be able to happen. It should self-heal for people.
I had a customer ask me that one time, just like, how are normal people supposed to figure this out? Because he wasn't mad at me. He was just mad in general. Right. Because I had helped him through this intricate problem. And it's like, all I wanted to do was use my camera. He's like, how is an average person supposed to do this? I'm like, you're right. I mean, it's not easy, which is why I have a job.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I shouldn't complain about job security, but it's just a stupid type of job security. It's like my livelihood is dependent on like a very poorly designed system that,
the misfortune of others.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I'm benefiting from the misfortune of others. Great.
Yeah.
There's our show title right there.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
What's the movie with Michael Douglas falling down, right? Where he came out about, Have you ever seen that, Joe? Young Joe? No,
I don't think so. Falling Down is what it's called.
Yeah. On a day like today, watch that. You'll feel a little bit better about your own life if you watch that movie.
It's an old movie.
Okay.
It's like 20 years old, but or even more. But it's with Michael Douglas. It's terrific. Yeah. He just loses. That would be.
I'm gonna watch it. Thank you. Good recommendation. Maybe that'll help Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm just in the throes of being frustrated and annoyed with this stuff. And again, it's like, I can't believe that we're still in this place where, because everything still gets more complicated. Privacy, great. Privacy is good. But now we have this layer of, do you really want to allow access? Yes, I do. Well, it still doesn't work. Sorry. It's like,
Yeah.
great. It's just another layer of problems on top of problems. So yeah, it's crazy. Oh,
Well,
let's see.
if you're
We got
listening to
another
this
movie
show
recommendation.
and it's
Yeah.
a little too complainy for you, this is a free show. You don't pay for this
That's right.
podcast, so
Yep.
you can always delete this one and move on to the next one. Where
Jerry,
there'll be a sunny side.
put that disclaimer at the front of our show.
Yeah, exactly. Please, yeah. Not every show is
Warning.
like this. We're usually a lot more hopeful.
Yeah. Warning, angry rants coming.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's probably it for this angry rant session. And thank you all, for listening live and for listening if you're still there. After all of that, I really appreciate it. And I'm sure you can relate. Send us your stories if you feel like it, or feel free to let us know you want to join us for a show. If you're a patron, we'd love to have you and just, commiserate about this stuff, because sometimes that's the only thing that helps, is just commiserating about the BS that we all deal with. So
True.
thanks for listening to mine. See you guys on the next show. Talk to you soon.